Hello, everyone. I have a story to share, passed on to me by a friend. Whether it's true or fictional, well, that's for you to decide. The setting was Blackwood, where some acquaintances had friends. A mature couple who had a penchant for collecting antique items for their home. They cherished old crosses, sofas, paintings, and the like. While on vacation, somewhere undisclosed, this family came across a magnificent find. A large mirror, approximately 2 centuries old, adorned with intricate carvings and age-worn pennies. Its once bright surface had dulled with time, bearing dark spots around its edges. After securing it for a remarkably low sum, the family eagerly awaited its arrival, which came about a month later. They opted to place this new addition in their son's room. This son, Mark, was 22 at the time. A tall, green-eyed brunette with the physique of an athlete, the envy of many girls at his university. On the first night, Mark retired to bed with his earphones in, the mirror positioned directly across from him with his belongings hanging from its frame. Sometime during the night, he stirred from his slumber, catching an eerie whisper amidst his music. Puzzled, he silenced the music and scanned his surroundings, finding nothing amiss except for his belongings, now gathered in a heap upon the floor beneath the mirror. Dismissing it as inconsequential, he returned to sleep. On the second night, Mark repeated his routine. He settled into bed with his music playing, the room tidied up courtesy of his diligent mother. However, in the dead of night, something unnerving disrupted his slumber. A sensation of breath against the nape of his neck jolted him awake, sending shivers down his spine. He rose from bed, seeking solace in the kitchen where he lit a cigarette, attempting to shake off the unsettling dream. After a moment's respite, he extinguished the cigarette and returned to bed. Before settling in, he stole a glance at his reflection in the mirror. Everything appeared as usual, even his tousled hair seemed to suit him oddly well. Yet, a sense of unease lingered as he approached the bed. He glanced back at his reflection once more, stifled a yawn, and slipped beneath the covers. Nightmares plagued his rest, causing him to toss and turn until dawn broke, leaving him with only fragments of unsettling dreams upon waking. On the third night, Mark retired to bed weighed down by a slew of unpleasant thoughts. School had taken a turn for the worse. He'd encountered a flat tire upon returning home, and tensions with his parents had escalated into a heated argument. Midnight once again stirred him from his restless slumber, but this time, a hand rested upon him, prompting him to leap out of bed in a panic. Flicking on the light, he scanned the room frantically, finding everything in order except for the fogged-up mirror. The room maintained a neutral temperature, neither hot nor cold. As he wiped away the condensation, the reflection revealed a young, strikingly beautiful girl with an unsettlingly aged face. Though youthful in appearance, her features bore the weathered look of a centenarian. Perplexed, Mark turned away, finding no one behind him, and upon returning his gaze to the mirror, the apparition had vanished. Anxiously, he returned to bed, haunted by dreams of the enigmatic girl, yet unable to recall their content upon awakening. On the fourth night, Mark remained home all day, feeling unwell with a cold that had likely caught up with him. Surprisingly, the night passed without any disturbances, no nightmares, no eerie visions. However, just before dawn, he bolted upright in bed, drenched in sweat and his hands trembling uncontrollably. A girl's voice, clear and piercing, reverberated through the room, pleading for help. He rushed to his parents' room to share what he had heard, but they dismissed his account, attributing it to his fever-induced hallucinations. With his temperature spiking, his mother, a doctor, administered medication and an injection to alleviate his symptoms, and eventually, he drifted off to sleep. On the fifth night, weakness lingered throughout the day, and as night descended, Mark found himself reluctant to retire to bed. Flicking on a small light, he approached the mirror, studying it intently. Everything appeared as usual, except for the mirror's darker hue. Drawing closer, he sensed a wave of fever emanating from its surface. Collapsing onto his bed, he succumbed to sleep almost instantly, only to be enveloped in a haunting dream. In the dream, he found himself standing before a grand house on a sprawling estate. A beautiful young woman, about 20 years old, sat on the porch, her long hair pulled back in a ponytail, clad in a white knee-length dress, her eyes filled with profound sadness. Introducing himself, he approached her and she, in turn, extended her hand, introducing herself as Lily, revealing that she had come to visit him. Mark was overcome with goosebumps, uncertain of how to respond, as he recognized her as the elderly woman he had seen in the reflection behind his shoulder. Taking his hand, Lily guided him into the house, where he beheld the same mirror though in pristine condition. Tearfully, Lily implored him in a whisper, warning him of someone's imminent presence, urging him to flee before it was too late. With those words echoing in his mind, Mark abruptly awoke, his body drenched in sweat, his thoughts muddled by the sensation of fever once again. Sitting upright, he cast a wary glance at the mirror, finding it fogged up, with a chilling message etched in its center. Help, traced by a finger. On the sixth night, Mark endured a day of severe sickness, alternating between bouts of fever and chills. Just before he drifted off to sleep, he approached the mirror, exhaling onto its surface and tracing the word, "How?" with his finger. However, before he could make it to his bed, he collapsed, losing consciousness and tumbling to the floor. Startled by the commotion, his parents rushed to his side, summoning an ambulance that swiftly transported Mark to the hospital. Following a battery of medical procedures, Mark received a cocktail of antibiotics and sleeping pills. Upon awakening, he found himself in the same location, the same house, confronted once again by the tearful presence of the mysterious girl. This time, she sobbed uncontrollably, begging for forgiveness as she lamented, "I wanted to help you, but he won't release those more attractive than him." Mark awoke to the haunting echoes of, "I'm sorry," lingering in his mind, only to find Lily standing before him, her once beautiful visage now disfigured with grief. Tears streamed down her face as she repeated her apology, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Desperately, he switched on the night light, but the room remained empty, devoid of any tangible presence. On the seventh night, Mark's condition worsened drastically, rendering him unrecognizable. Dark circles marred his eyes, his gaze bloodshot, his body consumed by relentless weakness. Confined to his bed all day, he drifted in and out of consciousness, occasionally glimpsing his parents by his side, their worried presence a constant throughout the long hours. As the night wore on, Mark's heart ceased to beat, his body succumbing to the relentless grip of illness. In just 7 days, the vibrant athlete, who had never before suffered serious illness, withered away before their very eyes, leaving a void of grief and disbelief in his wake. The tragedy reverberated not only within the confines of their home but also throughout the university community, leaving many grappling with unanswered questions. The funeral procession solemnly took place on the 4th day, yet the cause of his sudden illness remained elusive. Upon returning home from the funeral, Mark's parents entered his room, only to be met with a sight that would haunt them forever. Mark and a beautiful girl stood before the mirror, their hands intertwined, their eyes beseeching in their silent plea. In a horrifying twist, skeletal hands emerged from the mirror, seizing their souls and dragging them into its depths. Etched upon the mirror's surface in a desperate plea was a single word: help. Father shattered the mirror and buried its pieces on our property. Parents insisted they still heard 2 youthful voices echoing throughout the house. Yet, unlike before, these were not cries of despair but laughter, light and carefree. Who or what inhabited that mirror remained a mystery, lost to the annals of time. Despite extensive searches, no information about its origins or its spectral inhabitants ever surfaced. However, parents held a steadfast belief that whoever or whatever resided within that mirror had set them free. Now, they are convinced that these unseen entities continue to watch over and guide our family, offering their presence in the form of laughter and unseen assistance within our home.